Hi guys, this is Dave Bennett inside the softwareinstaller.com system, and it's October 7th, 2016, and this recording is going to cover what this is for, this first tool here. Set up cPanel accounts. This is not something you're normally going to do, right? Because it's not a function that's done as much as other functions in this list, and you can use pretty much anything in any order. A number of these functions require that you add the websites to the tool, but then some of these tools don't. Like Page Speed Analyzer, you can look up just a list of websites. You don't have to have access to the cPanels to check the page speed. You also don't have to have access to CPanels to check copyscape. And you don't need to have access for the images optimizer tool. So there are a number of things you can do here that do not require access to the websites. But this tool here, this is a little different. This is for guys who are playing bigger. And so say I want to, my next move, I want to unleash who knows how many, 10, 20, 50, 100 new domains and create websites on all of them, which with these tools and the upgrades that you have in your system, you could actually get this done really, really fast, in a single day. You can put up 100 websites for guys with full function templates, full function panels, completely ready. If you map the process out and get good at it, heck, you could get this done in an hour or two if you have clear instructions to follow and know what you're doing. Okay, so at the top, this setup cPanel accounts is literally somebody's going to go, let's say, to GoDaddy. It could be you or anybody else, right? They could give you permission to help them. Maybe they'll pay you for your time or for your work. Okay, and what are they going to do? They're going to go, like, let's say, to domains. They're not just going to look for one domain. They're going to do a bulk domain search. And they're going to put in ideas, things they looked up or things they thought of, things that they had in Excel. And they're going to paste in up to 500 domains all at once. They're going to say go, and the system's going to tell them which ones are taken and which ones are not. Okay, they can select all the ones that are not taken and they can buy them. And then they can come back here and go for more until they have as many as they want, whether it's 10 or 2,500. Okay, so now that they got all the domain names, what's the goal? The goal is to point them all to a dedicated server like this one. By the way, everyone's got them. You can buy a dedicated server from GoDaddy. We don't recommend it, but you can. It's pretty much this, except that it's going to have little different tweaks and everything else. All the services have their own little tweaks. You can get one from HostGator. We don't recommend that either. You can get one from HostMonster. We do recommend that. I've got an affiliate link you can follow and get that. And if you do, you let me know. I get paid a little when you get one. Let me know. I'll help you do some real custom tweaks on the inside of that thing, and I'll give you some extra gifts, whatever the gifts are at the time you're buying. Because I always like to reward my people for their work. If you remember me, let me know. I'll remember you. That works well. All right. So, what's the idea? We've got a bunch of domain names. Let's say we bought them all. So we're going to manage my domain names. So how would this normally go? Well, maybe we've already got some domain names. We just bought a bunch more. So we're like, okay, this is showing up alphabetically, but how do I know which ones I just bought? Well, that's pretty simple. Hit the expires link, and then that'll sort it like A to Z. Hit it again, it'll sort it from Z to A. And the whole point is that way you can see which ones are the newest and which ones are the furthest out before they expire. Well, the ones the furthest out are the ones you must have just bought, would be the idea. So you can check mark the 100 or whatever it is that you just bought. And when you check mark at least one, then these options come live. And then I can hit name servers, set name servers, and it'll do this in one motion for everything I check marked. Okay, so I'm gonna, again, set name servers would be the idea. Now I'm gonna go with custom name servers instead of just regular shared accounts, and custom name servers, and I'm gonna edit those name servers. Now I'm gonna put in the name servers for whichever WHM panel I got. Whether it's GoDaddy, whether it's HostGator, whether it's HostMonster, whether it's Bluehost or Just My Host or ISP West, or whatever it is. Okay, wherever I got a dedicated WHM, right, WebHostManager panel, then that's what I'm putting as the name servers for that WHM. boom, boom, boom. Okay, so I just updated that. That will be for like 100 websites. All right. This is what everyone does, by the way, already. Okay, this is not unusual or different from normal things that people do when they're going this route. All right. Having done that, and that's if you're going to run a franchise, or you're opening a whole bunch of news outlets, or you're going to take a campaign and run it nationwide, like a bunch of dental websites or orthodontist websites, roofers, plumbers, anybody, MLM. And then you're going to, so you're going to pre-rank the websites and make them all great, and then you're going to offer them to local territory guys, whoever wants to take them over locally. Okay, and you can give them access to their admin panel, and then they can take off with it and make you both money. All right, there are a lot of ways to go about this. You might set up a bunch of websites to get, with just a nationwide presence, so that people start buying and they're making orders and all those, and you're dispatching all that out, or you're drop shipping or whatever it is. Okay, and so then when you're ranking all over the nation and people are buying through you, what do? You call the people there when the sales are coming in and say, hey man, can you drop this off for me? I'll split the profit with you. Go, go, go. Set up partnerships with guys across the nation. These things are not hard to set up. And the point is, we have the ability to set up whole networks like that every day now. Okay, that's what's changed. That's why the software installer tool, I'm trying to make sure you guys can keep up, because we can do a terrific amount with what we have now. All right, how would you normally attach a new domain name? Like here's how it looks right now, emojisamples.com. Okay, it's just some fictitious program I'm setting up, right? Can't be reached, right? Can't be reached because there's no files anywhere that's pointing at. This phone number is not getting received on the other end until we set up the account for it. So let's do that. I'm in the WebHostManager, and I'm going to say, yes, I want that emoji-samples.com site to point into me. I want that to happen. Okay, it's not doing it yet. If I look for my accounts and list them, all right, and I look for emoji-samp, there is no emoji-samples in here anywhere. So I'm going to go to account functions, and I'm going to create a new account. Okay, I'm going to say, I know the guy set the domain up. I know he pointed the name servers to me, whoever it is. Or you did it yourself for yourself. Let me see, I'll just do that. I kind of like shorter usernames. Don't ask me why. Okay, actually. Okay. Okay, and I'm just doing this so you guys see how it goes. I'm going to put in a password recovery email, so I don't want it to be a system email. I want it to be password recovery. Now, I got all that done. I need a package that says something like how many add-ons this account is allowed to have, how much storage space it's allowed to use. And so I already created my packages down here under packages, okay? And so I created a handful of packages with different settings for different purposes. And now I can choose my packages, Okay, main, right? It's my main package. Then I'm going to hit create. So what did this really take? A minute, right? Maybe two, because you're going to document all this. You're going to write down the username somewhere. You're going to write down the password somewhere. Because if you're going to do this with a bunch of websites, one after the next, you need to keep an Excel file with, columns. Column for the domain, column for the username, column for the password, column for the email address, right? Does the guy want a different password for every single account? Or does he want it all to be the same password, so it's less he has to hassle with? He only has to, understand what the usernames are, memorize those. Okay, so now that I got this done, am I done? No, there's two more things that we can simplify. I'll show you. Now that I created it, let me go into it. Into the Cpanel. I just created it. And I want to go to email accounts, because that's just it. When you create a website, you want to have a professional email account, not just something at at yahoo.com. You want it to actually be something at your website. So I'm going to create my whole support at, right? And that's going to be, whatever I want for the pass. Oh, okay, good. That'll work. Okay, and yeah, whatever the quote is, I'm going to hit create. Now, good. So there is such a thing at support@moji-samples.com. Could I create another one? Customer service, service. Technical for like Phil the technical guy. Can I go creating all these things? Yes, I can certainly do that. So I can create a bunch of accounts and they'll all wind up in here. Okay. Now what? Well, here's the thing. No one knows how to go read this email yet. Now, the reality check is, first of all, let's refresh because at least we're somewhere now. We've got connected just fine. There are no files there yet. We didn't upload any images, videos, pages, but it's connected. And you can tell because it's showing you that there's nothing there. All right. So how would you normally get to the email address? Well, do it like this, webmail, right? And then you'd sign in. Well, it's either going to be support at, or, if we did the other one, it'll be like service at, or tech at, right? Right now, I just created support at, right? And then it would be the password. And there you go. That's how that would work. And most of you guys know this. This isn't new or different or anything, right? And we could go ahead and log in with who knows what, Squirrel Mail or whatever. Just choose. They're all pretty much the same. And I can go to my inbox and I can do all this other stuff, okay? And I can put in basic signature information and submit it. And now I'm fine to go check the inbox or whatever it is I want to do, okay? Now, here's the next thing though. Most people don't want to do all this stuff in the beginning. They don't even know if this website's going to take off or when someone's going to rent it or which email address it's going to be for, maybe. So what else do you think we want to do? We want to forward the email address to the guy's real email address. Like if I just created this to be a reseller site, and now this is going to pitch somebody's stuff. And then if it's good to go, someone's going to call the phone number or they're going to send the email. Well, the email will go to that website email address. We want that. We want the email address to be on the site. It looks more professional. And besides, if the guy I did the reseller site for decides he doesn't want to pay up or play ball or he doesn't want to continue, then I want to be able to kill the forwarder that sent the emails to him and set this forwarder to send the emails to the other guy who says, I want to take up the slack. I want to do it. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to set a forwarder. A domain forwarder means any email address, anything at moji-samples.com will go to one guy. And that works for a lot of guys. But if you're a bigger organization and you need one for support, another one for customer service, another one for Phil the technician, then you're actually going to set individual forwarders for those individual email addresses, right? Support@moji-samples.com. If you don't know what the drop-down domain is for, that's for choosing add-on domains that you can also set up in your cPanel. Okay, that's just in case you didn't know. And I can add the forwarder. It's going to forward to where? Okay, well, wherever I really am, normally. Now, if I start getting email from here, I'll get more interested in attaching this thing natively in my Outlook so I don't have to log into webmail to reply from it if I want to look professional, But I can do this. Okay, now let's just review what we did because then you're going to get the point of why it makes sense. Let's say we were going to do this 50 times. Again, I want you to remember what we have to do 50 times. Okay, we started with the first domain. And sorry, we're going to create a new account. Domain, username, password, email. Choose a package. Hit create. This took like 1 minute. Then it's done, and we're going to list accounts, and we're going to look for it, and we're going to go in there. I don't care what order you do all this in, you still have the same steps to finally complete. So I'm going to go to email accounts. Put an email, probably the same system password as the cPanel to log in just for ease. Create the account. Make the one password good. So again, just takes a minute or so. And then I'm going to go to the forwarders and I'm going to add a forwarder to send that email address to this other guy. I'm going to add the forwarder. Again, just takes a minute or so. We're only talking about like 3 minutes to do the work. But if you add the documentation, just make sure all your records are straight in your Excel file, make it 4. Then you need a minute to just breathe. So let's say it takes 5 minutes for each one of those you want to do. So if you wanted to do 50, that would kind of be hypnotizing and grueling and stuff, because it's, 250 minutes divided by 60. Okay, you're just spending half of a real work day, all right, like literally 4 hours to get this done, and that stinks, right? What if you actually had more? I've got a client that bought 2,500 recently. Yeah, they spent like $25,000. Now, if I was doing that times 5 minutes, again, we're just thinking about the work it takes to get this done, divided by 60, that's how many hours divided by 40. That's how many work weeks. So you're talking about like 5 weeks to create all the cPanels manually. That's why we invented this tool that bulk applies all of it for you. So now that you know what the steps are, because they're pretty clear, how would it work here? I'll show you. We're going to download the sample. Okay, open the sample. Every one of these boxes where you see download sample, that is the sample that relates to that particular tool. So all these samples are actually different files, just so you know it. Okay, so when it says download sample on any one of those pages, take it seriously. All right, here it is. What would this be? Just to make this clear, you can forget about these for now, and if you don't see them, don't worry about it. We're just going to copy our information from here to the end. This is the WHM domain, whatever it is, .com. What would it be? Oh, there we go, OGSystem.com. Now, since I'm going to put all 50 of these on the same WHM panel, I just come down to what's that going to be, like 52, right? Like if I was really doing this, okay? Now, what's the pass? Well, it's whatever the pass is, and the pass, of course, will be the same all the way down. It doesn't need to ask what the root user is, because it's always going to be root. When you have a WHM panel, the username will be root. Okay, so that's our WHM domain. No, I do not need to put a /WHM or anything over here, and just the password. Okay, now what's the domain names? It's the ones we bought. So I'm going to copy and paste that list in here, right? Now that I did that, what's my usernames going to be? Can I just sort of come up with a structure for it? Yeah, I could if I really wanted to, right? I could say something like, user 1, okay, and then just take it down through user 50. Now, the reality check is I want to be as simple as user, so I might do some variation like PL, plumber, Denver, Colorado, user 5 or user 1, right? And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to pull that one down, okay, so I can get all the different combinations there, right? Now, password, again, think through whatever it is you want to do, for a format for your password. And so it might be like, PL number, whatever it is, 8, whatever it is, R, okay? And then if I'm doing all of these websites together in one stack, either so I can control them or the end user can control them, I can assume that it's safe to make these passwords the same. Okay, but only do that if those guys aren't paying attention to each other and they're different guys, or this guy could use his head and say, well, if this is mine and I know that this whole stack happened, then I could try to log into this other one over here and discover this and just try my same password. If you say, well, I need to make sure the passwords are different, make them different. About the time you go like this, no one knows what's what anymore because they don't know the order in the list, right? So they wouldn't know which website goes with what number. But you don't even have to do that. You can actually do other things too. So I'm not telling you how to do your passwords. Do them whatever way you want, however secure you need to be. I'm just giving you ideas for simplifying batch work. Okay, package name. Let's say they're all going to have the same package, main, default, whatever it is. So I'm just going to do that. Okay. Now, what's the cPanel contact email? Again, if this is different guys, then this would be the matching list of who you assign those individual websites to, or who is assigned to them. Okay. If it's one guy, then it's just one guy, fine. And that's, whoops, missed. There. That's that guy. Now, what's the email prefix going to be? Okay, we're going to forward. Notice this real quick. We're going to skip a step here. See how it says forward, email prefix, forward email to one. All right, forward email to. So it's saying forward this email prefix that we're going to create, which would be like support@yourdomain.com. And we're going to forward that email to the #1 guy, bob@msn.com, or whoever it is. Could be the same as this, right? Like you could copy this list and paste it here. Okay. And then if there is another email address, you're going to forward email prefix 2 to whoever that is, forward email prefix 3 to whoever that is. Okay. And yeah, I mean, you would literally be dragging these lists straight down, you know, just whatever it is. Okay. Now, in the beginning, though, we went to, these are just forwarding. So it's going to set up the forwarding, but it's not actually creating email accounts here, just forwarding steps. Okay. And you can choose the names. You can decide if it's support@yourdomain.com, admin@yetanotherdOmain.net, tech@differentdomain.net, or they could all be support. It's, you know, it's up to you if you want to mix and match, or if you want them all the same. It's just whatever's working for your strategy. Now, the only thing I have to point out that's left over is this. The actual place where you create the real email address that's going to belong on the site, there's just one that you would create in this step, but you could keep going if you really want, is this. Yeah, that's exactly right. You could keep going. You're going to create this prefix with that password. You know, the next with that password, the next with that. This is for logging into webmail. Okay. Now you may do even more of these. Okay. So this is for creating the actual accounts. This is for forwarding whatever the heck we want the names to be to whoever it is. Like even if we never create this account, it will not exist, but we did create the forwarding for it. So even though you cannot go to webmail and log into this, because we didn't create it, we created that. Maybe we created this too, but if we did not create this, it doesn't exist as an actual email address, but it is still passing all the emails through with all the attachments through to whoever this person is. Okay, so you might wonder why it's backwards. First is forwarding the prefixes, and then this is where you actually enter the real ones. What do you think you should do with the email passwords, by the way? If guys are logging into webmail, you may as well make it the same as the Cpanel password. So make this secure, whatever it is. But then people don't need to be remembering multiple passwords. Just tell them whatever the Cpanel password is the same as the email password to log into their webmail. Just make it the same, right? Like literally make it the same. Okay, that's what I would do. So for, you know, really, this is pretty simple. Control C. So if I was creating this and I just said support, okay, then I would know that I have this arrangement right now. So I would be absolutely copying this over for the first one because it's the first forwarding email prefix. I would paste it in, going to whoever it is. And so keep in mind what we're doing on this one sheet all at once. We are creating the cPanels with the username and the password and the package and the contact email for contacting the guy in case he forgets his password. And beyond that, we are creating the email address with the password, like logging into the email section. And beyond that, we are creating the forwarding. Whoops, there we go. Forwarding for those emails. And if we actually want to set up dummy account forwarding for other emails right now, we can just do it like that right now. So we can actually do all of this and let this one file run. How's it going to work to put it in the system? I'll show you. See, this is a box and it says paste the data from the Excel sheet. Okay, we're going to paste in as much of this as we want to happen. So we have to be sensible. I'm going to make sure to go all the way back to column A. We can't just go pasting in some of this stuff. It cannot do the job. So I'm going to go all the way back and I'm going to start with the first header. Okay, because you need the headers for the rows. This box the first thing it's thinking it's going to see is a header. Okay, so that's the header row right here. So we're going to go all the way out to the end of whatever it is we're doing. And yes, we can include blanks. And yes, we can have blanks. And then I'm going to pull this thing down to the bottom, whatever it was, 53, I think, or 2. Okay. Wait, I don't want to actually create. So let me do it this way. I'm going to just click on that one. Then I'm going to go to the bottom is like 52, just to know where I am. And all the way out to W. So I need to go all the way down to W52, right? I mean, that's just like obviously what I need to do. Now, can you go further? Yeah. The only thing you cannot do is grab those buttons, but I don't even think you can grab the buttons like that for a text box. So you should be able to just highlight the whole thing, right click and hit copy. I keep forgetting whether it's true. We really don't use it that often. Paste as plain text. How's that? Now, if I said process the data and don't even generate usernames, I already came up with the username concept, so I could have it in my Excel file. If it generates usernames, I have to copy all those usernames back to my Excel file for my records. I don't want to do that. I just simply want to save this thing somewhere, right? Like on my desktop, and then put it in a folder and call it, you know, stack 5 for this client, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to process the data. And yeah, the result is nothing. And you know why? Because this WHM doesn't exist. Or I'm sorry, it cannot connect to it anyway. But there you go. There's the idea. Let's just see if I can do it like this, just to kind of show you. Actually, that should work. Set up Cpanels, Control V, process. Yep. And that's where it's just going to not be able to actually do the work. So yeah, you should be able to get data anyway. And it's true, I got just too much stuff that's blank for it to be able to do the job properly. I'm missing things I have to have, like cPanel domain name has to be there, right? You cannot install something that doesn't exist. So that was just bad data, but you can clear the data, okay? Discard the list. Instead of start installation, I can discard the list, and then I can even clear the data, and I can paste in good data. Now, when you do this, it'll do all the work row by row in about 1 minute each. In other words, it'll do this whole thing, all 3 steps, or even 4, 5, 6 steps, depending on the forwarding, in 1 or 2 minutes, say 1.5 per row. So if you've got 50, okay, instead of it taking 150 minutes, it's going to take half of that, about 75. So it'll work twice as fast as you, at least, and it will probably actually have the whole thing done in 1 hour. Okay, and the important thing is, while it works, you walk away. You do anything else you want. You can even minimize the page. Okay, you don't even need this open. I'm not even going to save it because I don't need it. And literally, you can walk away and do other things while it creates all those accounts. Will it create them? Yep. Will you be able to come back to your to your WHM and list the accounts, and you will see all of your new accounts added in? They will all be in here with their cPanels, with their usernames, with their contact emails. And if you go into any of them, will you see the email address information and the forwarding for all of those? Yes, you will. That's the whole point of that tool. That's why it exists. So you tell anyone, don't manually add your new cPanels to your WHM. Let us do it automatically. Whatever. We'll charge you 25 bucks an hour or 50 an hour or whatever you want. And there are going to be guys who pay. Because again, if they had to pay people to do it manually for a week, right? What was that, 40 man hours? You know, we were figuring out how many weeks it would take to do a large job, like 5. Then they would much rather pay you than somebody else to get this thing done for a fraction of the price and done correctly, because it's done robotically, not manually. So it's done by a machine that's being exact, not a human that can get hypnotized by what they're doing and enter the wrong username somewhere because they got off on the wrong column when they sorted stuff or who knows what. All right, there you go. That's the purpose of this whole setup cPanels account. And it's one of the most difficult things that there are in this entire list. Pretty much everything else is cakewalk compared to this one topic we went over, because it's pretty new stuff for a lot of people. What do cPanels have to do with WHMs, have to do with websites, right? And domains. So there you go. You go buy your domains from GoDaddy, then create the cPanels on a WHM with those domains, so that because you have a cPanel, you can do stuff with it. You can create email addresses, forward the email addresses, upload files, and lots of other stuff. Install software and make it all visible to the world so they can come and visit your wonderful sites. All right, there you go. That's huge control, especially if you're strategic and you're creating websites for people around the nation and you want to maintain control of everything and you want to have the final say. All those cPanels email addresses, you can even have them forward the same prefixes to 2 different email addresses. So you can send the emails to them and also send yourself a blank carbon copy so that you can tell what kinds of emails they're receiving, and you can tell who's the busiest among them and stuff like that. That's pretty useful. That way you can go log into their webmail accounts and see the incoming and outgoing emails, for instance, right? If you need to, or if it makes sense. It just depends on who's in charge of the operation and where you should and shouldn't be and what you should or shouldn't be doing. But there's the power of that tool. It gives you control to run your operation across the nation and supervise it, oversee it the right kind of way. Whatever way that is. Okay, there you go. Hope you found that interesting, and I'll just keep going down the list with other videos. They're all going to be a lot shorter because they're not so complex. They're pretty clear compared to this. If you need your own cPanel, you should get one with us. There is more power in cPanels hosted on our server for less money that we charge than other cPanels you can get, especially shared. Shared cPanels are the worst. They're low quality, low speed. You don't know who your neighbors are on those shared accounts. It's better to have hosting on our dedicated server. Okay, hope you found this interesting. And by the way, if you want to get your own dedicated server, if you're ready, here's the link. If you buy through that, that's our affiliate link. And so let us know you did. That way we get paid. And in return, we'll help you tweak your WHM PHP settings for strong power for your websites. And also, we'll make sure to give you whatever kind of a gift, like the latest theme or tool or software that you can add to your file repository. And that way you just have more power in your tool and your file repository. That'll be fun when we get to that, because there's a lot of cool toys you get when you upgrade and grab your file repository stack. Okay, I hope you found this interesting. Looking forward to seeing you on the inside.